What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy MrBaboon back with a reaction video. We have, if you guys ever wanted to learn about Walt Disney's family tree, we have that right here ready to go to react to. So let me know what you guys think about the video. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications if you guys are new. I really do appreciate it. Comment what you guys' thoughts are about this video. Let me know down below. So with that being said, check the description. I will have the video, the channel link down below in the description. If you guys want to check it out, you guys can. Is there anything else? I don't think I have anything else to add. So we're gonna go ahead and jump into the reaction. A nice little short intro today, so we can jump into these. Yes, I'm recording at night. It's been a minute. I know. But it's all good. I don't know why they go full screen. Hello.
Hi, this is Matt Baker.
Hello. Where's you not going full screen? There we go.
This coming Monday, October the 16th, will mark exactly 100 years since the founding of the Walt Disney Company. Now one of the world's largest media conglomerates, and a brand that virtually everyone on the planet is familiar with.
I think everyone knows Disney, right? I'm pretty sure everyone knows Disney.
The company, of course, gets its name from this man here, who founded it together with his brother Roy Disney back in 1923. Therefore, I thought that this week would be a good week to go through some Disney history, including a look at their family tree. Now, the first thing you need to know is that the name Disney comes from the word de Isigny, which is French, meaning from Isigny, a reference
I did not know that.
to the French town of Isigny-sur-Mer, or Isigny on the sea. This small town is located in the part of France known as Normandy. However, in 1066, under the leadership of William the Conqueror, many Normans came to settle in England, including Disney's direct male line ancestor. Because that ancestor had originally been from Isigny-sur-Mer, he used the surname de Isigny, but eventually this became anglicized as Disney. The Disneys went on to become the lords of the manor in several small English villages, including one that to this day is called Norton Disney. It was presumably from one of these earlier aristocratic Disneys that Walt Disney's great-great-great-grandfather, Robert Disney, was descended. He was born in England, but later moved to Ireland, where the next two generations of the family were born. However, in 1834, Walt's great-grandfather Arundel immigrated to Ontario, in what is now Canada. That's where Walt's grandfather Keppel grew up and where his father Elias was born. So does this mean that the Disney family is actually Canadian? Or are they Irish, or English, or perhaps even of French descent? Well, I guess the answer is kind of all of the above. And of course, they are also American. That's because Keppel Disney moved to Kansas in 1878, along with his wife Mary and their 8 children, the eldest of whom was Elias, now aged 19. Elias initially worked on his dad's farm, but also tried his hand at many other jobs, including working in a railroad machine shop, where one of his co-workers happened to be Walter Chrysler, the man who went on to found the Chrysler Car Company. A bit later, he ended up in Florida, where he married Flora Hall, and then in Chicago, which is where Walt was born. Walt Disney's mother's side of the family has much deeper roots in the U.S. For example, through his...
let me guys say this really fast. I don't really know a whole lot about Walt Disney or anything like Disney. I just know I watch Disney. You know what I mean? Marvel, part of Disney. Star Wars, part of Disney. Plus, I mean, Disney store, like, come on. Who doesn't remember the old Disney shows? Like, Zack and Cody. The Sweet Life of Zack and Cody. And, like, I mean, there's just so many. Chick Patalis, like, there's just so many. So many. Was Disney XD? Yeah, because that's Disney, too. Yeah. Like, no, it's crazy. It's crazy. Disney is such a big part of everyone's, like, childhood and life and stuff. It's crazy.
maternal
100
grandfather,
years
Walt
for
is a
Disney being around.
descendant
That's
of John
crazy.
Billington, one of the passengers on the Mayflower. And he's a descendant of the Reverend George Burroughs, the only church minister to be executed during the infamous Salem witch trials.
Oh, shit.
Finally, through this side of the family, he's also the third cousin 3 times removed of Samuel Morse, the inventor of Morse code. Now, before we go any further, I want to tell you how you can build a tree like this for your own family. Using the website of today's sponsor, MyHeritage, MyHeritage, you can also include birth. Using MyHeritage, I was able to find November 27th, 7138 from the Boston Sunday Post, dated November 27th, 1938. It tells the sad story of how she died at age 71 when gas fumes from a leaky furnace seeped into her home. Walt Disney's father survived that incident, but died 3 years later in 1941. According to MyHeritage, both of them are now buried at the Forest Lawn Cemetery in Glendale. If you want to learn the history of your own ancestors, by 50% in the description. Like I say, Walt himself comment. Let's now return to the Disney family tree. Like I say, Walt himself was born in Chicago.
And like I said, if you guys want to check out the video or the channel, I will have the video and the channel that we are reacting to today in the description if you guys want to watch it for yourself. You guys can. Like the video, if you guys haven't, subscribe, all that good stuff. I appreciate it.
Chicago, although the family moved around quite a bit during his childhood. For example, he spent several years on a farm in Missouri, as well as in Kansas City, which is where he met Ub Iwerks, one of his early collaborators. Together, they created Laugh-O-Gram Studio in 1921. However, when that company went bankrupt in 1923, they moved to Hollywood, and together with Walt's brother Roy, founded Disney Brothers Studio exactly 100 years ago, although it soon became known as Walt Disney Studio. But don't be confused by the name. Although the company was named after Walt, and it was Walt who was the creative genius, Roy Disney played a major role as well, taking care of the business side of things all the way up to 1971. Now, although the Walt Disney Company was established in 1923, it wasn't until the 1930s and 40s that it really took off, thanks in part to the creation of this little guy here, Mickey Mouse.
Yeah.
Although not an official part of the family tree, because he's so integral to the Disney brand, I thought I'd tell you a bit about his birth. The story actually starts with an earlier character here named Oswald the Lucky Rabbit, who was created by Walt Disney and Ub Iwerks in 1927. There was a problem though.
I feel like I heard about this.
They created Oswald for Universal Pictures. Hence, Universal Pictures ended up owning the rights to him. Therefore, in 1928, Walt and Ub came up with a replacement character instead, one that Disney would own, the very similar looking Mickey Mouse. Originally, he was going to be called Mortimer Mouse, but then Walt's wife Lillian convinced him to change the name to Mickey. Speaking of Lillian, she was actually one of Disney Studios' first employees, hired as an ink and paint artist.
Really?
But soon a romance developed between her and Walt, and they married in 1925. She continued to work as an artist during those early years, and in fact was one of the artists who worked on the very first Mickey Mouse film, called Plane Crazy, in 1928. A lot of people think that Steamboat Willie was the first Mickey Mouse film because it was the first one to be distributed on a large scale. But Plane Crazy was actually made a bit earlier and used for a test screening. Anyway, together, Walt and Lillian had 2 children, both daughters. Their firstborn, Diane, was their biological child, whereas their secondborn, Sharon, was adopted. Both girls appeared in Disney's first ever TV special, called 1 Hour in Wonderland, which aired on Christmas Day in 1950.
No, that's crazy.
But by this point, the Disney brand was already super famous. You see, it was between 1937 and 1942 that Disney experienced its golden age. with the release of its first full-length animated films, Snow White, Pinocchio, and Fantasia, all of which broke new ground in terms of animation and film technology. But then the US entered World War II, and the Disney studio was actually used to produce propaganda films for the State Department, such as this one called Der Führer's Face, starring Donald Duck. It wasn't until 1950 that Disney hit its stride again with films such as Cinderella, Alice in Wonderland, and Peter Pan.
Did they have like another version? It wasn't Donald, but it was like it was, I don't know. There's so many Mickey Mouse and everything like that animated. Like for Donald, for you know what I mean. There's just so many. So it's hard
then
to
in 1955, Disneyland opened in Anaheim, California. The TV series.
I think I know what it is. The animation. I seen that animation before on one of those other ones. You know what I mean? I think.
Is now known as The Wonderful World of Disney. Started the year before and was initially designed specifically to advertise the new theme park. Now, before I move on with the company's history, I want to point out a few people on the family tree. I mentioned earlier that Walt's father, Elias, had 7 siblings. One of these was his younger brother, Robert Disney. He's important to the overall story because it was Uncle Robert who provided the initial seed money for Roy and Walt to start the Disney studio.
Oh, shit.
Roy and Walt also had 2 older brothers, Herbert and Raymond. Herbert worked for the U.S. Postal Service, and Raymond ran an insurance company, which became successful in part because he provided the insurance for all the Disney employees in the early days of the company.
Oh, shit.
They also had a younger sister named Ruth, who lived a very private life. The last movie that Walt Disney himself was involved with was The Jungle Book, which was released 1 year after his death in 1966 from lung cancer. However, what dominated Walt Disney's final years were the plans for an even bigger theme park, this time in Florida, where he managed to acquire a whopping 25,000 acres of land.
By the way, I've never been to any of the Disneyland, Disney World, never been to it.
With the help of real estate developer Bill Lund, who later became the second husband of Walt's daughter, Sharon Disney. However, the more important son-in-law of Walt Disney was Ron Miller, who was married to Diane Disney and who worked as a producer for the company. After Walt Disney died in 1966, his brother Roy continued to run things until his death in 1971, after which Don Tatum took over as CEO and then Card Walker. But then in 1983, the job of CEO once again fell to a family member, with Ron Miller taking the top job. His main contribution was the creation of Touchstone Pictures, which allowed Disney to create non-G-rated movies for the first time, such as Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Dead Poets Society, and Armageddon. But Ron Miller did not last long at the top job. In 1984, there were several hostile takeover attempts aimed at splitting the company into parts. At this point, Roy Disney's son, Roy Jr., also known as Roy E. Disney, stepped in and prevented this from happening. He managed to oust Ron Miller and make Michael Eisner the CEO instead. Meanwhile, Roy E. Disney put himself in charge of the animation studio. What followed is what's been called the Disney Renaissance, which is when Disney produced films such as The Little Mermaid, Aladdin, and The Lion King. By this point, Disney was finally considered to be one of the major film studios in America, alongside companies such as Universal Pictures, Paramount, and Warner Brothers. In 1995, Disney also acquired ABC, one of the big 3 TV networks in the US, meaning that it was now a major player in both film and television. 1995 was also the year that Toy Story came out, which was the first full-length movie to be 100% computer animated. It was produced via a partnership between Disney and a company called Pixar, owned by Steve Jobs.
Like, Disney is such a big part of everyone's childhood and everyone's, like, childhood, adulthood, everything. You know what I mean?
Of Apple.
Crazy.
Around 10 years later, Disney bought Pixar outright, soon after Michael Eisner was replaced by Bob Iger, who is the current CEO. During Iger's tenure, Disney has continued to grow, acquiring other major brands such as Marvel.
Yeah, see, we was just talking about that earlier. Marvel, Star Wars, Fox. Damn, I didn't know they spent. Damn, hold up. Damn, I did not know that. I know about these, but I didn't know about that. Okay, no, this I did know about. This I did know about. But that and that, I did not know about. That's crazy.
Star Wars, and most recently, 21st Century Fox. In 2019, it launched Disney Plus, which is currently the third largest streaming platform worldwide, after Netflix and Amazon. Nowadays, there are no longer any Disney family members serving as executives at Disney. The last family member to hold any sway was Roy E. Disney, who passed away in 2009. He and his wife Patricia had 4 children: Roy, Susan, Abigail, and Tim, all of whom are independent film producers. Abigail is the most outspoken of the 4, known for publicly criticizing both Walt Disney himself as well as the current direction of the company. Ron Miller and Diane Disney had 7 children. Their son Walter appeared in the Disney movie Son of Flubber when he was just a baby. These days, he's the president of the Walt Disney Family Museum in San Francisco. Sharon Disney had 3 children. With her first husband, she adopted Victoria, who sadly became a heroin addict and died at age 36. With her second husband, she had a set of twins, Brad and Michelle. Brad, who has an intellectual disability, has unfortunately been fighting for years to receive his inheritance. You see, trust funds were set up for all 3 of Sharon's children, with certain trustees being given the power to withhold the $100+ million owed to each of them if they felt that the recipients were not responsible enough to manage the money. Victoria was given her inheritance despite her drug addiction, whereas Brad was not, despite him demonstrating responsibility by working several everyday jobs. One of his main supporters is his stepmother, Sherry Lund. Okay, so that was a look at the family tree of Walt Disney. Let me know in the comments what you think.
Yo, this is an interesting family tree, though. See, I never looked at Walt Disney's family tree or anything. I never looked at this. This is my first time looking at it. I mean, and this is definitely interesting. Huh. No, this is definitely interesting. I like this video. This was a really well done video and everything. Really well done. And all the, you know what I mean? Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below in the comments. That's going to end it for this video. I got 2 more I got to get done. Like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications, all that good stuff. Positivity is key, motivation is key, happiness is key. I'll see you guys in the next video. You guys watch out for each other, all that good stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys stay safe.